Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast.
Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Pat Phelan. Pat Phelan is responsible for research across the enterprise software market, including applications and technology strategies, software vendor support, third-party support, IT leadership discussions, business development, and sales execution by providing enterprise software licensees with quantitative and qualitative strategic insights. She works across the organization to support planning for and management of the enterprise applications roadmap. Prior to joining Rimini Street, Pat Phelan spent 18 years with worldwide analyst firm Gartner, where she served as research vice president for enterprise software and ERP products, and was the leading analyst covering third-party enterprise software support. During her time at Gartner, Phelan provided thousands of CIOs and IT leaders with research and advice on strategies and options for managing the business application lifecycle and costs, and published nearly 300 research reports. Well, good afternoon, Pat. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. This is exciting. I love research. I love technology. And this is what we're going to kind of talk about today, which is your background. So I'm so appreciative of you being on the show. And we're going to jump right into the questions here, Pat. So you have quite the career in technology and research. You're senior executive and now the VP of market research at Rimini Street. Could you share with our audience the secret to your career growth and what inspires you?
Sure. Well, at first it started out with a bit of luck. I lucked into a career in IT when I found out that I did not enjoy law. So pre-law was a failure for me. And then I lucked into my first job, which was centered between business and IT. Back then they called it systems analysis or a systems analyst role. And once I got there, I realized I really loved being the go-between between business and IT. And I got a little bit of both worlds. So once I wised up to all of that, I began working on becoming an expert, if you will, and creating credibility so that people would listen to me on both sides of the fence. And my mom taught for 36 years, so that kind of rubbed off onto me. And so I've always been looking for ways to help others rather than be the one who creates the program or delivers, production at the end of IT. So once I found all of those things and I could help pave the way, and I realized that it was a lot of fun and I seemed pretty good at it, then I started working really hard on honing my skills in what I call the soft side of IT. And that's not so much the programming itself, but it's building that bridge between what the users wants and what the IT team can deliver. So that's how I got started. And then all of the jobs that have had since way back then have just taken me further along the path of creating that bridge between the end user community and the folks who are enabling them over in IT.
Thank you for sharing. And that, Pat, that's probably one of the most important jobs in technology is bridging that gap between the business and tech. As you know, a lot of times there might be a lot of IQ in the room, but not a lot of EQ and just some basic common sense, right? To speak to kind of, again, it's like being an interpreter in some cases. So thank you. So Pat, talk to us about research and what technology trends do you foresee coming?
Well, there's an awful lot of stuff out there, but the ones that I happen to be watching right now, and there's no particular order here, is the area of modernizing analytics. We talk about real-time analytics and forward-thinking predictive analytics, but until we modernize the way we perform analytics, the process, and really want to change the way that we look at data and information and interpret it, all the technology solutions in the world that are predictive or AI enabled aren't going to help us. So we're watching that trend very closely. Another one that's very close or near and dear to my heart is the SaaS software evolution, if you will. And the risk that comes with that, of course, is not sold when they sell you the SaaS. But I think there's going to be a reckoning coming between the value you get from SaaS and the risk that you create from using it. So I'm watching that to see when the bucket tips over there and the bottom starts to fall out of it. Another one that everybody's watching right now is open source. And of course there's technology and all that, but what I'm watching, the trends I'm looking for are when is it that open source, the concept and the solutions are going to create a need for new governance and compliance policies and processes. So it goes back to the people side of things, right? Yes, the technology's there. Yes, we can make something work differently, but how do we manage it and make sure it doesn't break other things? So that governance and compliance is where I'm looking for trends right now. I also think that a trend to be watching for is a balancing act. The pendulum has swung on the cloud, and as we've gone way over into the cloud arena, I think there's going to be a balancing point at some point where people finally get comfortable with how much I want to put in the cloud and how much I want to leave out of the cloud in a non-cloud status or state. So I think what are we seeing in terms of a trend in terms of balancing the cloud and non-cloud portfolio? And then I'll touch on this maybe a little bit later, but the collision of our tech talent shortage with the economic slowdown that everyone is fearing is going to happen. That is something that, we're watching. It hasn't happened yet, other than we do see some big companies starting to tighten their belts, but that hasn't changed the tech talent shortage itself and the need for certain IT skills that are just not available. So that's a trend to watch as well.
Great. There's a lot of trends there to follow, and I appreciate the share. So Pat, switching a little bit more into the tech here, you're obviously leveraging some new and emerging technologies within your tech stack there at Rimini Street, but is there anything you might be able to share with us today?
Well, sure. I can't give the company secrets away, but I would say that what I've observed over in our service delivery arm is that we are really embracing AI in our client services. The auto assignment to best available experts and that are knowledgeable in your area and have experience with your solution or your issue that you're having. We also are using a trend called, we've been writing about it ourselves, a composable application strategy. And if you read Gartner, you probably heard about composable business. So for example, we have Workday for HR, we have Salesforce for CRM. That all surrounds our core ERP, which happens to be on Microsoft's Dynamics series. So we've embraced that concept, that approach to enterprise applications, which is keep your tight core and then innovate where it makes sense to really add value or differentiate you. So that composable strategy is a trend that we have taken to heart ourselves. And then the third one that came to mind as I was thinking about this is the work from anywhere capabilities. We've been working from anywhere for several years now, so the pandemic didn't hit us as hard as it hit many companies out there. But it also, the pandemic exacerbated the on the employee side of things, that people are really demanding that work from anywhere capability. And we're happy to be able to accommodate that pretty much around the world.
Thank you. I appreciate what you all are doing inside the company without sharing secrets, of course, but I do appreciate that. Kind of helps us give a bird's eye view, at least, of your organization, what you're doing in your tech stack. So Pat, last question here. Can you share something from your career experience that might be helpful for those looking to grow their career in either technology or research?
I'm happy to do that. The first thing I would do is go back to the first question where we talked about that divide or spanning between business and IT. Many technologists are very deep in their technical knowledge, but not always as good with their bedside manner with the business. And I have found that over the years, the people that do have that EQ, as you'd mentioned, and can translate what the business is saying into what IT needs to know to solve the problem is a huge career accelerator. So hone that skill, be able to talk the language of the business, be able to gain their trust and have credibility so that you can make tech decisions and provide guidance that they're going to listen to and be able to understand. So that's a big one. The other piece of career advice I would offer right now is back to that tech talent shortage. There are a number of technology skills, and the one that I had mentioned earlier about bridging the gap between business and IT is one of them. where the shortage of experts is profound, and it's not going to go away just because a business leader says, I need you to cut your IT budget by 10% or your headcount by 10%. So look at the areas where jobs are needed and skills are scarce. And it may be time to divert your career down one of those paths, because even though the economy starts to suffer a bit, those jobs are still going to be needed.
Thank you. That's some great insight. As you know, we are seeing record inflation here in this country. And I have seen some articles already on some bigger companies definitely doing some layoffs. So I think the recession we're at the beginning. Let's hope it's short-lived. But I appreciate the insights. And Pat, it was a pleasure having you on today. And I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Thanks for having me.
Bye for now.